Welcome to the Nate KG Podcast, a show dedicated to exploring the nuances of jump rope, where I talk with jumpers of all skill levels, backgrounds, and fitness goals. On this episode, I talk with Chad Gonzales at Chippy Rip on Instagram. Chad has been jumping for a long time now, and he's easily one of the most consistently versatile jumpers I know. He uses just about every single jump rope style for every purpose, whether that's a brutal endurance workout, a freestyle skill training session, a hybrid strength program, or really anything else. Chad has some solid perspective and shares a lot about how to make time for jump rope, how to handle being made fun of for jumping, ways to change up your workout to integrate all styles of jumping, how to use social media for connection, and a lot more. All of the show notes for this episode can be found over at natekg.com. And without further ado, please enjoy this interview with Chad Gonzales. Chad, welcome to the show.
Hey, Nate, what's going on?
Not much, dude. I'm really pumped to get into this. You and I have chatted for a while now, and you actually interviewed me on the podcast several months ago. So I'm really pumped to kind of dig into your story with jump rope and get into some questions for you.
Oh, definitely excited to share from the other side. I was hoping I'd get the opportunity at some point.
Yeah, no, this is going to be really good. I think a solid place to start would just be to give some context about where you are in the world.
I am in Spanish Fork, Utah. Born and raised here in Utah, so kind of funny because it's a ski state, and I hate the winter. So.
Oh, really?
I'd rather be in the heat any day of the week.
Nice. How did you pick up a jump rope for the first time?
So this one is actually one of the stories I did want to get out because I think it's pretty exciting for me to share, and so hopefully I can give you the condensed version but still keep it pretty interesting.
I mean, hey, we've got time, so if you want to do a long version, we can do that too.
So this one for me goes back to 2014. I was working for a forklift parts company, and I was also a student at the time, so I had a free transit pass for our local transit here. And the train was only a mile down the road from my house. So I got to just drive my vehicle a mile down the road, hop on the train, take it a half hour up to work, and it dropped me off like a mile down the road from my work. So that was pretty awesome to save wear and tear on the vehicle and save on gas. But what it left me was lunch break. I couldn't jump in a car and go and get fast food or go out to eat, kind of get away from your work. So I ended up in the break room and just kind of bored. And a lot of times, these mechanics would come to me with parts related questions and I'd get sucked right back into work. So I kind of said, I got to do something that gets me out of the office for lunch break, because otherwise you just kind of go crazy. You got to step away from your work and clear your mind. So what I decided to do was just start running. There was like a trail outside that complex, and I just kind of go for 20-minute runs. And I wasn't really going at it with weight loss or fitness or anything involved. It really was just to get away from work.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
That's really cool, because the motivation then, I would imagine, because you did it that way, it probably prevented you from getting into that trap of like, oh, I'm obliged to go run, and now this like kind of sucks because I have to do it, versus like you're like, I need to get away from here, so I'm literally going to run away.
It was awesome. It was not, and I became known as that person that ran. So that was like the summer of 2014 into the fall. Mm-hmm. And I just got to a point where I was just hitting 2 miles every day, and I couldn't even tell you, I wasn't tracking time or speed or anything like that. It was just to get away, listen to music. And I'd come back from work and eat lunch real quick for 10, 20 minutes and then go right back to work.
It literally was your relaxation. Like that was your time to go chill out. Even though you were physically active, like you found that way to move around, but also be internally calm. And that's really cool, dude.
Oh yeah. So then the winter starts approaching, and as I mentioned, I hate the cold weather. So I wasn't about to go bundle up and be one of those winter runners.
Yeah.
So I had to start thinking, what else can I do? Because I really liked doing this. So I told my wife, I watch a lot of Rocky. Let's get a jump rope, and
this is awesome.
I'll go to this spot.
This has been a really common theme that's popped up with several jumpers, is that like they've been huge Rocky fans, and that was one of the original things that got them and pushed them towards getting a rope. So that's actually really funny to hear that.
Well, that got me the rope. This is going to be a surprise little twist here, because I got that rope for Christmas. It's just your Amazon rope with the
Yeah.
thick foam handles. It's a black licorice rope. And I grab this thing. I go to work the first time after Christmas, and I'm all geared up. Got the shoes laced, the workout clothes on, music ready. Hit this little spot in our warehouse, and I have no plan. I have no workout I'm going to do. I'm just going to jump rope.
Yeah.
So I start jumping. I think I've hit 30 seconds on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And one of our warehouse guys walks over and he starts laughing. And he even says, I remember, "What are you, Rocky?" And he's just laughing at me.
Oh man, that's rough. It's the
And now
first day you've been jumping?
The first day, and out of all the videos you've seen me post on Instagram with no fear, believe it or not, that comment actually did bug me, though. It got me embarrassed.
Oh, I bet.
I put that rope away, and I didn't touch it again till 2017.
No way. 3 years after that?
Yeah, so then I ended up working at a different company later, and I moved on and got done with school.
You left the company so you could go jump rope. Clearly, that was the reason, right?
So I went that whole winter not jumping. I didn't touch that rope again.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of moved on with life afterwards, and we got to 2016, the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm at my parents' house cooking chicken wings, as I always do for the Super Bowl.
There you go.
And that scale that's on the kitchen floor that's been there even my whole life, I decided to step on.
Uh-huh.
I think I'm like 26, 27 at the time. And to me, I'm still the 160 pounds that I've been since high school.
Mm-hmm.
So I step on this thing and I see 187.
And that,
whoa,
that's
where
a
did
surprise.
that come from? Because my body's always been the type that hit it pretty well, so I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when I decided I need to start eating better. Because even during all that running and everything, I never really changed a diet.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so that was when I'm working for a company that has like an on-site gym. And so this is where I'm going to start trying to eat a little bit better. Now I'm running on the treadmill for time. I'm looking up YouTube channels for lifting weights. And I started going the rest of 2016 through 2 or 3 different YouTube channels and influencers that I liked. And it took me all of 2016, the rest of it, to lose about 20 pounds. So I got down to like that 167-ish mark.
That's really impressive that you accomplished that just by going through YouTube and finding people, because like that's really difficult. I mean, it makes sense to drop a few pounds here or there, but like for you to do that consistently and get, a total of 20 pounds dropped on your own is really impressive.
Oh yeah. And for me, I'm always like a form person. So it was always looking up the right YouTube channels who are teaching proper form, but not just that. I liked the YouTube channels that are showing the complete workout.
Yeah.
Because I want to fast forward 20 minutes in and see if he's still using the same weight, if he's dying.
Gotcha.
Because if they just say, 3 sets of 10 on this weight increase, you're not seeing how much somebody else is dying by the end of the workout. So I want to go, man, at his fitness level, he's still not breathing that hard. I should be able to manage. And it kind of helped me gauge how to attack some of these workouts.
That's actually really interesting. I haven't heard that from other people. So you're saying that you like to see a person demonstrate the whole thing, because not only is it, credibility, but it actually shows ideally where you should be at, like physically where you should be at when you finish the workout, and like how much that should tax you. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, exactly. Yep. I was looking for the YouTube videos that were 20 minutes long versus, like a 1-minute Instagram that just says, do this exercise for, so, cause you're not seeing how tired somebody is or what weight, if they had to drop down even at the end, like, okay, it's okay to drop down 5 pounds.
Gotcha. Okay.
At this point. So I liked seeing those things.
Nice. And so you did that for all of 2016.
For the rest of it. Then we got to a point in like November, December that I'd gone down 20 pounds, but it's been a good like month or 2 since I've dropped anything. Just kind of plateaued. I felt like I needed something different. So I started out 2017 in January. I said, I got this rope that I got for Christmas a couple years ago. And so I'm going to pick this thing back up. And I kind of just came up with this new workout plan on my own.
Real quick, before I want to keep going with this and I want to hear how things shifted, but can we double back for a second to when you put the rope away? Because I kind of want to dig into the mindset. And I know that it was, it was kind of funny, but in that moment when I think that having your coworker, tease you or laugh at you, that is, I think, for so many people, legitimately a fear with jump rope, because jump rope is one of those activities that, like, if you don't immediately have the coordination for it, which most people do not, it makes you feel so weird about yourself. And then, like, to
Oh
be in front
yeah.
of other people too can be tough. So can we, like, as your coworkers, teasing you, like, what was going through your mind? How did you feel about that in the moment? And then, like, a week or two later.
Oh man, I remember like playing it off like as a joke, saying, "No, I love Rocky. That's awesome. That's a compliment."
Right.
Playing it off like it didn't bother me,
Mm-hmm.
but I still didn't jump anymore the rest of that workout. I kind of
Mm-hmm.
just stood there, and I think I went to like sit-ups and other things, and I just, if he's going to make that comment, I'm not going to keep going. But I was the type that was going to hide that embarrassment and
Mm-hmm.
that feeling and just act like it didn't bother me, but I didn't pick up that rope again. I definitely bothered me.
Now, we might kind of get to this answer a little bit later, but I'm curious to ask you now, like, what do you think about that now? Now that you are as talented as you are with jumping rope, and as versatile, using many different ropes, many different workout styles, what do you think, being who you are right now, would you give yourself advice about that when in
Oh
the
yeah,
moment?
definitely. You just got to not care what people think, and like
Mm-hmm.
you're the one doing something that's moving your body
Mm-hmm.
and trying to better yourself. And the fact that I could do that in front of people should be an accomplishment in itself rather than something that you should be, embarrassed about.
Yeah, it's tough because not only are you physically training, but in that kind of a scenario, you're also mentally training, which is a very, very difficult pairing. And I can see a scenario where I would imagine this has happened many times. And unfortunately, I think that I've accidentally contributed this in the past, but I can see where jumpers would go to a gym, like a chain gym or something, and be in a group setting and pick up the rope and start going, but might be discouraged because people are going to look no matter what. And this has happened for me. I'm not so bothered by that because of my history with jumping, but there have been several times where I've been in the gym, in like the aerobics room or whatever, and I'll be getting warmed up to jump, but I don't really have a rope in my hands yet. But somebody else will come into the room and start jumping. And someone who is they're just jumping to get a little bit of a sweat on, just to work out. But um, as soon as I do my normal style of jumping, it can be a little bit
Intimidating. They
or
go, I'm going to put this away.
yeah, and like that sucks. You know what I mean? Like I really don't like that, but I can see where someone, in terms of like comparing to your situation, might be in a chain gym as well and might feel, usually I'm imagining there's not other competitive jump ropers around because there's not that many of us compared to chain gyms. But even in this scenario where someone's in a gym just trying to do a regular workout with whoever else is around, like, I think that what you're saying about, just focus on you and understand that you showing up is an accomplishment, like, truly, I think that's really important for people to understand. So let's go back. I know that was a quick digression. Let's go back to you picking up the rope.
Oh yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
I've plateaued. I'm still not where I want to be physically fit wise. I at this point I had my first kid, and
Okay.
I look back at pictures from her first day she was born, and that's where I kind of noticed the face of my picture going, oh, I don't like my face in that picture. Even you kind of see it's a little bit rounder than it has been in other pictures. So I plateaued. I need to do something different. So I go back to this rope that I got in 2014. And I just get creative as I'm at my desk thinking, what will I use with this? And so what I decided to do was, Monday is chest day in the gym, and then people go from there. They, have a back and bicep day, or they have a leg day. And I was kind of following that format just with casual lifting, but I, had plateaued and wasn't doing anything. But I'm going to incorporate the jump rope into weightlifting here and see what I can do. And so what I decided, I'm going to drop all the weight off this bar on chest day and just do the bar. I'm going to do 100 reps in the straight bench, 100 reps in the incline and the decline in sets of 25 In between those sets of 25, I'm going to jump for 1 minute. So there's no rest in between, just from putting down the rope and heading to the bench, doing 25 reps. And I'm just doing the bar. So, it's only 45 pounds. I should be able to handle this thing. And so it ends up being 300 reps total. I think this took me like an hour and 15 minutes workout.
Yeah, that's brutal.
It was a brutal workout.
That's very difficult.
And then I carried it on to bicep day, and I just did like 5-pound dumbbells, 25 reps in like, in 3 different positions basically, so that you're hitting all heads of your bicep or all heads of the chest. I carried it into leg day, into back. I did this for about 2 or 3 weeks, and weight just started flying off me. And it was
interesting.
It was just working. I was like, holy crap, I've discovered something awesome with this jump rope, including in weightlifting.
Yeah.
And each week, once I got back to chest day, I added like 2.5 pounds to the bar.
Okay.
And then I added like to 5 pounds. So I was only increasing just a little bit. I was still trying to keep it low weight, high volume.
And you weren't taking any rests in between each of the elements of the circuit?
No, it was just going from the jump rope over to the bench. If I did have to, set the bar up and rack it for a split second, because I got to like 18 reps and I just needed to rack it for a second, I would rack it for a second.
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting because, there's so many different ways to approach weight loss, and it's you're reminding me a little bit of our friend Deck in the way that he just is a madman and destroys his workouts. You've done a very similar thing, just going 300 reps, and that is it's good to hear for anyone that's listening. It's good to hear that you took off all of the weight, and I would imagine that the bar weight that you started with was probably like 50% or lower of your max weight.
Oh yeah, it was way down, but it got tough in a hurry, just in one workout.
Because and that's really critical, because like that style of workout is, especially if you're doing it for an hour, that is a endurance workout. But you're using strength training rather than like like running or something that would be conventionally paired up with endurance. So it's good to note that, like, because you took off all that weight, likely that was how you were able to avoid any kind of like tendonitis or any kind of issues there. Because the flip side of that would be doing like a medium endurance workout, which would be similar to HIIT training or like a CrossFit style, where you would have weight paired with the jump rope, but you wouldn't be able to sustain that many reps without legitimately hurting yourself in a bad way. So that's really cool that you approached it like that. So have you maintained that? Did you keep doing that as your main style of workout?
So I did that for like a good month, 2 months maybe. And then the 1 minute of jumping in between each set of 25 reps kind of would get boring. So I had to think of ways, like with footwork, doing like a 1, 2, 3, 4 speed step, 1, 2, 3, 4 basic. And but then I wanted to learn the crisscross so that I could like do a crisscross in between those footwork transitions. And that's where I started doing some YouTube research. How do I do this crisscross? Because I actually, with the footwork, I picked that up really good. I could speed step, I could basic, I could boxer skip. That was easy to pick up, but I could not get those crisscrosses. So that led me to YouTube and looked, I found, just like everybody else, I found the jump rope dudes, a tutorial from them, but I didn't really get into their workouts because I already had a program that was working for me. So I wasn't really watching a lot of their videos for workouts, but I noticed a common theme, and that was, this video is sponsored by Crossrope, and if you want to, go to the link below. And I kept hearing this Crossrope terminology. So that made me YouTube Crossrope and see what YouTube channel they had. And I found a video for the limited edition heavy rope set that he just had coming out. It had a 3/4 pound rope, 1.5 pound rope, and a 3 pound rope in this set. And that seeing him swing this 3 pound rope, the weightlifting mentality in me was like, the PR, how much weight can you lift? That was like, I need that rope. I want to see how much I can swing and how long I can swing that rope.
Did you, you're looking at that, did you ever get into the battle ropes as well? Like the thick, like ropes?
Not until like the last 6 months, I think in September last year, I got a pair of battle ropes for actually
Hmm.
doing, waves and battle
Right.
rope burpees and things, but never even knew about the thick battle ropes to use for an actual jump rope.
So that's really interesting that you had that weightlifting mentality, and that's what kind of drove you to those heavy ropes, which is really cool because yeah, those heavy ropes have such a different, the stimulus is so different, but it's cool that you I think compared to many other jumpers are able to use them most effectively because you have such locked in form, you know? And I would imagine it was good then, but it's extremely good now where you're at
Oh
with
yeah.
your ropes, you know?
And doing the form research I always did.
Mm-hmm.
I learned the cross rope way for their form on the heavy ropes is, they're thicker handles on the heavy ropes and you kind of hold it like with a dumbbell power grip versus, a lighter rope where you have that thumb at the top of the handle, kind of driving the rope as you teach, driving that rope down. And so I definitely dialed in right away. If I'm going to use this 3 pound rope, I want good form on this thing. And so I did the research on that, but it was a spur of the moment decision. As soon as I saw 3 pound rope, click, I had a bonus money check and I bought it pretty quick. And with the cross ropes, they're asking you to join this Facebook community. And so I joined that thing and I start seeing a 30-day challenge going on in this group. And they have these daily workouts and they're kind of pushing each other, not just to do the workouts awesome, but they have like some AMRAPs going on, as many rounds as possible. And
Right.
they're competing against each other going, I got 8 rounds or I got 9 rounds in that 12 minutes.
And then I'm assuming that really grabbed your interest.
Oh yeah. So the
Yeah.
competitive side of me again goes,
Mm-hmm.
dang it, that next 30-day challenge that comes up, I need to be a part of one of these
Mm-hmm.
because I'm just as competitive.
Have you done you've done other sports in the past, correct?
Oh yeah. So I played baseball growing up. That's my main sport that I
Mm-hmm.
played in high school, little league, all the way on up. But recess and schoolyard and front yard, I played every sport there is: basketball, football.
That makes a lot of sense because watching your progression from when we originally connected until now and hearing about your progression from when you started, it sounds like you, because you've done so many athletics, you really had a huge kickstart in terms of your talent and your ability to pick up a rope and make it work, you know? Because for so many people who have not, if you haven't experienced sports before, you can still learn for sure, but like you kind of had a little bit of an edge on that in terms of that respect because you had this through doing these athletics, you had this proprioception, this idea of like, oh, here's how I use my body to accomplish this goal. And I think that it sounds like that has really helped you. Plus, plus the natural competitiveness definitely keeps you engaged.
Oh, definitely. And I think that's why I feel bad when you hear people that struggle with double unders for months
Mm-hmm.
or other skills like that. Like I picked up the double under basically the first time I tried to do it. Being an infielder with baseball, it's all footwork, so I think that's why it was easy for me to go from speed step to basic jump.
Exactly. You had that power, that explosivity, and that awareness of where your feet are and all that and that stuff, which is really, yeah, that has helped you tremendously. And I can still see it now. Now that you've gotten so comfortable with the rope, I can see in your form how you've built up not only from a beginning solid point of rope awareness, but you have such a tremendous amount of rope awareness now too from all the work that you've done. So that's yeah, that's really cool, man. Okay, so you've picked up the jump rope. You're really getting used to really getting practice in a lot of different styles, including the cross footwork. You're using heavy ropes and you're getting really competitive to try to, beat your own score and be in this group of people. Is that about the time when you started to post on Instagram and get and start to see the jump rope community that was there?
Yeah, so really it was the competitive side that made me move over to that, is because in that community they were also doing some performance challenges like fastest to do 100 jumps or 1,000 jumps. And one of the guys I was competing with, we were going for 100 crossover double unders, the first person who could do that.
Dude, that is tough.
And I just wasn't getting it with the rope I had. And that's when I started seeing, the Rush Athletics money rope. And I thought that could be the rope that gets me to 100 crossover double unders. And so that's when I kind of moved over to Instagram and took that kind of following on and was kind of looking at those type of videos of like the boxer style skipping. I still wasn't seeing a whole lot of the like the competitive side of jumping yet. And so I moved on more to like I was still using a lot of cross ropes for my workouts, for structured workouts. And at this point, I've gone away from my 25 rep or 300 rep routine. And I've actually just thrown myself into the Facebook community where I'm doing all their 30-day challenge workouts and workouts there and using the weighted rope system. But then on the extracurricular side, I'm learning like the side swings and the crossover doubles and side swing doubles from, the Rush Athletics channel and the money rope.
Well, and it's really cool that it's great to hear that you were able to see different ropes as being tools for different styles early on, because that's a huge thing that I think many people are unaware of when they begin, is that a jump rope is just like a shoe. You have different shoes for different purposes, right? You wouldn't wear a dress shoe to the gym, but that doesn't mean that your dress shoe is bad. So
exactly.
I think that that's really, really great that you were able to pick that up. And to your point earlier about, you mentioned that you picked up double unders really quickly, and you've noticed that other people have had a hard time with that. The thing that, because I've also seen that, I've also done a lot of work coaching people double unders specifically, and with RX, and what I found in that regard, and with other skills too, is that jump rope is a very interesting sport where the second you've completed something, it makes sense to share what you know and to give some input about how to coach it. But what has been really lacking, and is only just now starting to come about, is a biomechanical and principles of movements approach to jump rope. So people who are not having an easy time getting doubles, it's not really so much their fault as it is the fault of the lack of information that's available. Because I've seen a lot of people who will say something to the effect of like, make sure that you turn more and you get the rope underneath you faster. Just make sure that you're jumping high enough, and don't flail your arms. All of those seem to make sense, but it's very comparable to somebody who reads information on fitness online and puts together something and then teaches that, versus somebody who is a trained trainer, a true coach who understands biomechanics and the physiology of training, And so to your point about that, I think that rather than having someone feel bummed out that they're not able to get a double under quickly, they should review the information they're consuming and see if it actually is a biomechanical approach to a physical skill, rather than let me just give you a couple of tips to get this. You know what I mean? Because that's a really, really big distinction, and it's something that I'm really, really hot on. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that real quick before moving forward. But in terms of you mentioned that your workout started to shift a little bit because you started to add in the workout. Is this when you started to split it up with a more workout stimulus plus the more freestyle flow section?
Exactly. Yeah. So I kind of was doing 2-a-days like a football player now at that point. I'm doing like a nice weighted rope structured workout in the mornings. And then again, I'm still transit dependent on my lunch break. So I was showing up to work, like an hour early just to get a workout in. But then my lunch break, I'm going back in that gym now and I'm just playing with the rope.
Sweet.
But It's all still like kind of that fitness boxer style jumping where I'm just kind of flowing, doing a lot of side swings and crossovers. I think I mentioned in a comment that you have seen recently that I've seen some of your videos and other videos of the freestyle jumping. I think I've seen like some wraps and releases in one. And I remember showing it to my wife and saying, "Oh, I'm never going to do that kind of jumping though." that doesn't even look that fun. It's just they're not even moving.
And little did you know.
And then that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, that's really, but you're also doing all the above. Like you do almost every single style that exists.
Oh yeah, and it left me like I haven't lifted a dumbbell now since maybe 2000, late 2018 even. I kind of left the dumbbells. I haven't bench pressed in a good couple years. I got into kettlebells, so I do have a lot of kettlebells at my house, and I have the battle ropes. But I kind of use the heavy ropes now as some strength training along with body weight movements, and I even moved away from the weightlifting aspect of my life besides some kettlebell swings.
Just because you were more interested in jump rope and it kind of took over?
Yeah, the jump rope just kind of took over, and I can get a full body jump rope workout with body weight movements using like even the heavy ropes. I know that some people don't understand that a 2-pound rope isn't necessarily supposed to be like a 5-minute set of jumping, but
Right.
I can utilize that thing in like ladders, a nice ladder workout where I'm doing 10 burpees and then 25 jumps. So I'm keeping those jumps short with that 25 rope. And then I do 9 burpees and 25 jumps. And so I'm getting that heavy rope work in while laddering down like a burpee or a body weight movement.
Yeah, I think, the way I kind of view heavy ropes is that they're all specialty ropes because you use them for a very specific stimulus in the gym. But the ones I found over the years that the ones that are above 1 pound tend to be more of a novelty for people like yourself that are really getting after it and really like that super heavy feel, because a lot of people that are new to jump ropes start with heavy ropes, and the over 1 pound I think I've seen a lot of people pick it up and they're not able to refine their form. Whereas you spent so much time refining your form and getting it locked down, and then I would imagine, pick those up, or you did pick those up later. The 2 pound can make it, if you're not used to using it, it can really be tough to maintain your form without smoking out your upper body prematurely,
Exactly. And rope length is so much more important on those heavy ropes, because if it's way too long, you're adding pounds of force to the ground when it hits the ground.
And it messes with your mechanics in your form, because the body automatically wants to correct for a jump rope size. And it's one of the things that people don't, it takes a long time to understand that, or it can take a long time to understand that when you're turning a heavy rope, or any rope really, if it's too long or too short, your body will try to do whatever is needed to make it the right length. And so many people pick up a rope that's too long and their arms go out really wide, but they have no idea that their body is auto-correcting for the right contact point. And with those heavy ropes, if you, like you're saying, if you have too much rope on there and your arms go out wide, not only are you going to have a really rough time, but you're going to use the wrong muscles versus what you did, which was dial in your form, get it locked down. And then now when you're using those ropes, you're not using the wrong muscles, you're using the right ones more and more effectively. So you're finding these ways to carve out time, and you have found ways to carve out time over the years for workout and for jump rope, but now it is primarily jump rope. How are you able to still make the time to work out given that you have, a couple children? Because that is a whole other ball game.
It is a whole other ball game, and I set the alarm actually to make that time. So now, even with this pandemic going on, I'm working from home, so I don't start work until 7. I could sleep till 6:55 and start work at 7, and that'd be awesome. But believe it or not, I'm still setting my alarm at 4:45 in the morning.
Nice.
And I'm hitting my basement gym at 5 a.m.
Nice.
And so I'm finding that time to still get a workout in. And then, I have ropes hung all over my house. So my kid wants to go in the backyard, and she gets to a point where she's in the sandbox and she's off in her own world. I have a nice beaded rope or a PVC rope hanging in the backyard, and I just pick it up and I start throwing things together. Well, in the kitchen while we're eating dinner, and they're just watching TV. So many tricks in the kitchen, and pictures are rattling on the wall, and the ropes hitting chairs, or
we're
My
gonna
wife
have
almost walks into the rope.
we're gonna have a new topic next time we chat, and it's gonna be how your jump rope intervention went. It's really cool to hear. You're carving out the time because you're finding the hours you can make it work, but you also are again maintaining this idea the same way you did when you picked up running in the first place years ago, that you're doing something that you actually like and enjoy, and you're not. I would imagine there's days you don't really feel like getting up, but once you get going, you're having a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, and I've found like a nice healthy medium too, because during that late 2017, early 2018 time, I also went to the far extreme where diet wise I was really on point. Workout wise, I was making sure and hitting 1 or 2 a day, and I got down to like a 7% body fat stage.
Wow.
And so like I was
Yeah.
really to the extreme, and people were like, Chad doesn't eat a donut, he doesn't go out to eat.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I also like that was kind of, you want to enjoy life. You want to be able to go out to eat with your family and at family parties, not be the one that's always turning down the cake and ice
Mm-hmm.
cream.
Mm-hmm.
And so even now, this whole last year and a half, I haven't been to that extreme. I'm maybe 12, 13% body fat, but I'm not gaining any of the weight back really. I'm staying around like this 158 to 160 range, and it doesn't really fluctuate because I'm just making that time to stay consistent with the workouts, and then I know what my body's going to do depending on what I eat or how much I eat.
That is such a good point, because so many people will compare their fitness journey and their results with what they see versus setting a goal and setting a realistic expectation of what they want out of their life based on the things that they value. Like, and you're a great example of that, because like you said, you were down 7% body fat. You're clearly, your meal plan was locked in and you knew what was up, and you still know what was up. You still have that information, but your priority is no longer working out and meal plan first. Your priority is, I want to enjoy time with my family, but I also want to stay fit. And there's this middle ground that you've identified that works for you. And having that, it's really common to discuss SMART goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. That's the whole idea of SMART. And it can be a little silly if you're not fully familiar with it, but actually it's incredibly useful. And it sounds like whether or not you use that framework, you've arrived at that conclusion because you now have a specific weight that you're cool with, a body fat that's not necessary, but the fact that you have it is, again, another number that you're able to more or less track. And you know all these different details about what you want to maintain, and that is a tremendous benefit. And now that you've worked through all that over the years, should you ever, stray from those goal numbers, you have the detail and the information to work back to it.
Oh yeah, that's what I've always told my wife actually is we have these 30-day challenges that we've done in the past that we've both had some awesome results. So if we ever need to get back there, we know what we need to do. We've dialed it in before. We can do it again, but as long as we're happy with where we're at the moment, that's kind of just where we've been at.
Does your wife jump too?
Oh yeah,
Oh, that's
she
great.
jumps rope
I didn't
too.
know that.
And with her, it's always the fitness. Like, it's mostly just to get a good workout in. I've tried to get her into, crossovers even, or side swings, but
yeah,
she just uses the weighted ropes and she gets out there too. And
that's really cool. So you guys are actually, it's a nice, jump rope's cool because it's like a cool family activity, especially given, your kids. Like, I would imagine they see you jumping and they get super jazzed up watching you. I know you've posted a couple of times, a couple of videos with them in the video jumping.
Oh yeah. And then there's times I got to know when to put that rope away too. Like, there's been times I go to attack a workout in the backyard and she's back there too. And I'm hoping that she will just entertain herself. But then she comes up and says, I want to go around the block. And I've made it a point to say, I'm putting the rope down. Let's go around the block. The jump rope can wait. It's
really cool. You really seem to have your priorities very, very straight and locked down. And that's really, it's really cool to hear that. I mean, I always kind of got that feeling from seeing you post on Instagram and from the chats we've had in the past, but like, now that we're digging into it, it's really clear that your priorities are really locked down. What do you as you've gone through your history with jumping, I would imagine it hasn't, I'm pretty sure I know that it has not been a linear journey of always accomplishing something positive every single day. I would imagine there's been moments of frustration and hitting skill blocks. What's been a time where you hit a skill block or were frustrated?
Oh, there's been a couple of those. Because I try to do it all, that's been one of the biggest struggles is sometimes I'll be really honed in on like a 30-day challenge that I don't pick up, a freestyle rope and start working on, keep up on those skills. So then this 30-day challenge ends and, I see a combo of the day or someone posting something and I just have kind of, you got to do it. You got to do these skills in order to maintain them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
that's the one thing with you and Mike with Let's Jump LA who throw out these combos of the day. I learn it once, but there's many of them that I do it once, I get it, I post it to you guys repost it, and I don't revisit that skill again
Mm-hmm.
until maybe once in a while I go back and go, oh yeah, and then I try it again. And how did I do that the first time?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's actually when I get the most frustrated is I did it once and I spent an hour doing that thing and I finally got it. And now I can't do it again because I didn't keep doing it.
No, I totally know what you're saying though, because like there's been many times where I've been able to do a skill and I'll revisit it later at whatever time period that is. And it's way harder than I expect. And I'm like, wait a minute, that this was supposed to be easier. And the opposite is true. Sometimes I have a massive block with the skill and I can't do it. And I'll set it aside and then I'll come back to it a couple months later and all of a sudden it's just easy. Like that happens. It's so weird.
Oh, I've had it even within hours. I go working on your thing and I don't even get anywhere near it. And I think I'm just not going to get this one. This one's going to stump me. I go back a couple hours later and I'm already closer. And I wasn't even
Mm-hmm.
making any progress the first time, but all of a sudden, wow, I wasn't doing that 2 hours ago.
And this sounds funny, but I think the secret to that is actually trying less, which is weird when you think about a physical activity and not putting in more effort. But with jump rope, there's really this sweet spot of just enough effort to make the skill happen. And I think a lot of times when people get started on a skill, and I'm curious what you think about this, when people get started on a skill, they try so hard to make it happen and they get blocked because for whatever reason that extra effort translates to something that makes the skill not happen, whether that's your arms going up and down too much, whether that's going too fast. It could be many things. But the second the person pulls back, like you just described, you go back a couple hours later and you're like, yeah, whatever, I'm probably not going to get it. And now you're in a place where you're completely relaxed, and then all of a sudden you get closer. Like I think that that's really a big thing that a lot of people don't realize, because especially with folks that pick up jump roping as an adult, you're so used to this, I need to work harder, grip stronger, use my muscles more, but jump rope is literally the opposite of that.
And I think the only other frustration I get is the competitive edge in me. Is there's been times during some of these challenges that I'm competing with other people against, and I might be 500 jumps with a certain pound of rope, and I'm doing this thing over and over again just to get the same exact time. And you think you're
Yeah.
going faster the next time. And I had to tell myself at one point to kind of back away from challenges. Like, you're done doing challenges for a minute because it just drives you nuts.
Yeah, if you're not seeing the exact numbers and the exact progression that you want, it can be a little bit demotivating to not, that's a, how have you managed that? Because I know personally, I tend to, once I hit the next level, I immediately raise the bar. And every single day the bar is raised again and again and again. But the thing with skills is that while you are learning them, just because you've learned it doesn't mean that you've maintained it. So to continually raise the bar day after day based on a new skill or a new PR is actually a little bit of a fallacy, because you should not raise the bar until you've cemented whatever that PR is or whatever that new skill is, until it becomes an everyday thing, or until your PR becomes your average, you can't really raise the bar. But I think with jumping, the second you get something new, it's so exciting that like internally you just automatically raise the bar for yourself. Have you felt that before?
Yeah, and that's actually, there's two different thinking to that. Like with the freestyle side of things, I just unlocked something awesome, some awesome release, or I caught the release into something I didn't even think was possible. Those type of bars I actually love. And to be able to go and take it into something else or put it my own spin on it from your combos, those things are so exciting. I think I had to find out the hard way that the other side of it, like the double under PR or the speed step PRs that I'm competing against other people, those ones were not bringing me happiness as I'm setting the bar so high. It actually was putting more pressure on myself to maintain those numbers when somebody else maybe tries to beat it, or I'm trying to beat my own PR. Like I'm just getting mad because I set the bar too high.
Yep.
And so I had to kind of get away from those and realize those are the things in the jump rope that are not making you happy and kind of making you frustrated and you want to throw your rope down. But the freestyle side of things, I found that comfort level where I'm like, dang, now can I do it into this? Can I exit from that?
And keep it creative. Do you feel that jump rope has taught you anything?
Oh man, that probably goes into even the question you ask at the end, but it's taught me a lot of patience. And I didn't grow up like you did on a jump rope team. I've learned that there is one here in Utah, but it's like an hour and a half away from me. And so it's not like I had that accessibility. So for me, it's all video. I've learned how to take a screenshot video, slow things down, and really break things down step by step. And you can take that into anything, break things down and find out where the root of the problem is. And I've done that with all of your guys' combos or different things I see. I have to screen record, and I have, strangers on my phone that my wife will look and like, who is that? I'm like, oh, that's a screen recording of a trick I want to learn.
Don't worry about it. It's just a jump roper.
She's like, who's that girl? I'm like, that's just a jump rope trick I'm going to learn.
That's funny. What do you hope to accomplish with jump rope in the future?
For me, it's always just, now it's keeping it fun, but I've just gotten the opportunity now to be a cross rope athlete in that Facebook community that I'm in. And so it's a new position they've never had before. Being that I've just been like a 3-year consistent member in this group, that's kind of the new goal now, is seeing where I can grow that on that side of things. And for me, it's not been about like my Instagram. I think other people, it's all about the following. And for me, I haven't really cared so much about the followers. I have noticed I am one that takes notice to, what's sexy on Instagram. And I've noticed with workouts, those aren't sexy. Like I will once in a while post like here's what I did for my workout today, and kind of do a condensed video and show me doing some kettlebell swings and this many jumps. And that might only get, way significantly less views than here's a few combos I put together.
It's funny you mentioned that, because a while ago, probably over 2 years ago now, when I was still living in Santa Barbara, I would post my post every day. I think you were following me at that point. Would be,
yeah, I remember that.
Yep, I would be doing, it would be my workout. I would have clips of what I did that day, and usually the beginning of the workout was something jump rope related, but it wasn't anything that great. I was at the gym the same time you get to the gym, around 5 a.m, sometimes a little bit earlier or later, depending on that day. And it wasn't going to be the craziest jump rope session. I personally, my body was not able to be 100% jump rope capacity at that time of day. But I was still able to get good work done. And so I would post a few things, but I noticed that, like you just said, it was the unsexy post. The hard work is not the kind of post that gets rewarded in terms of the vanity metrics. And I know that some of them, and I would play around with it. I wanted to see what people were most interested in. And a lot of times I would do, during my freestyle to warm up or whatever I was doing first, I would do something a little bit more flashy, because it was fun. It's fun to put those things together. But B, I wanted to see how that looked. And you're totally right that the flashy stuff and the combos and the sequences, those are the most interesting, but the hard work tends not to be.
Yeah, I'll do that. And I'll show it to my wife a lot of times. Like, can you believe this one's already up to like 600 views? It was 15 seconds, and this like awesome workout idea video I just put out was like 100 views in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, if there's one thing I've learned, it's that your expectations of what posts will do well are largely probably going to be incorrect, and the things that you don't think are going to be good tend to blow up. That has always been consistent for me. Kind of looking back at the whole journey now, if you right now could see you at the beginning of when you picked up a jump rope, not the first time at work when you put it away, but when you began picking up a jump rope again for real, what would you today say if you could see that old person then?
Oh man, I would have never thought that it would bring me the opportunities that it has brought me.
Mm-hmm.
Not only just with now working for a jump rope company and all the skills I've learned, but one of the most recent promotions I got at work, my boss actually told me when he told me I got the job, he's like, one of the reasons you got this job, dude, is what I've seen you do with the jump rope, man. If you can dial what you've done with the jump rope and your weight loss and how you look, that just shows your work ethic. That shows the type of worker you are and how much you put into something. And I see that in your work. And so he said, I feel like we made the right choice with you.
Wow.
And so
that's really, I've actually not, I know that jump rope has been used in terms of professional opportunities for different people before, but that's really cool to hear that, like, because that person actually saw the work you were putting in, that showed them a lot of your grit and determination.
Yeah, it was awesome. So, I would tell myself to, do everything the same. I think the only thing I would do differently is early on in the beginning, if I'm not getting reshared or posted, don't care. I think Instagram is fun and you get to see a lot of people jumping, but if someone's not sharing your videos on a daily basis, don't get caught up in those type of things. Cause I think those are sometimes I would get caught up, these guys always comment on these people's posts, but never on mine. And you just can't get caught up in those type of things and know why you're doing. If you're doing it for you, don't be doing it for, the attention of others.
Yeah. Instagram is a social network, which means community, and you're there to connect with people basically as a virtual team. And the vanity metrics can be highly distracting. And for some people, they're important. There are certain, they can serve as a marker for people who are trying to accomplish a very specific, business goal or philosophical goal. But by and large, the whole purpose of being there is to have a real conversation with people who also enjoy jump rope and to connect, because there is so much power in, you and I are a great example of that, where we would not have connected if Instagram did not exist. And we've been able to, feed off of each other and inspire each other with different ideas and different thoughts on jump rope,
Definitely.
I would not be surprised if later on in the future you became, I know that you train on the Crossroads group and you offer a lot of great workout ideas and stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised if you went and shifted into a more official trainer's position in whatever respect that would be. I could definitely, in terms of when I was asking you, what do you hope to do in the future with jump rope, I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that crept up. I've actually been thinking about that for a while.
Yep, I definitely, right now it's been that thing that 3 years into it still hasn't become a chore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I hope it doesn't ever become, is it's never a chore. Like now I have to go jump rope, or I have to go train, or I have to go teach.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping it that awesome thing that's kind of just
smart.
been a hobby.
Yeah, that's really smart. Keeping it fun. That is the number one factor of how to just maintain your fitness, is just making sure that it's always fun. And you've done that phenomenally. I think now would be a good spot to start to wrap up with the last main question of the podcast, which is, what is jump rope to you?
To me, that's pride. That's the thing that is probably the only thing that I could say was self-taught. Like your parents are the ones that sign you up for Little League or sports growing up. You don't aren't always the one that asks, I want to play baseball or soccer, and then you get a coach. But really, jump rope was the one thing that I came up with as an idea all on my own, and then I've really never jumped besides my wife with anybody else in person. And so everything has been self-taught through basically my phone. And so it's been something that I'm the most proud of besides, having a family and kids. As far as learning something on my own, it's one of the things I'm most proud of, and using it to lose weight, maintain weight, and just have this body that I'm proud of, but then have skills those head turning skills that I can show off that people go, whoa, what did he even do? And it was all things, those skills are things that I myself try at first and think I'm never going to get it. But then I take the time to let's rewind, slow it down in a video, and let's see what's actually happening. So it really is just something that I'm the most proud of outside of family that I've done, and has been like a self-taught thing because I've never been on a team, and I just had to do it all from a 7-inch phone.
I think that's really, really important, because I think jump rope is unique in the respect that every single step of the way, you are accomplishing something that you can be truly proud of. And even for people who do have coaches, they can't make you do that thing. Like, it's still up to you to execute whatever, a cross or a double or a triple or a mick or whatever skill it is. Like, it's still up to you to do it. And once you've done it and once you've got it, it's yours. You get to keep that. And no matter what you see or do later, like, that is a skill that you own, that you've earned. So it's really cool to hear that you've internalized that. And it's really great to hear this kind of an impact that jump rope has had on you in your life. It's something that, like, when I was on my first team and I was a lot younger, I never could have expected that this kind of that jump rope could apply in this context. And it's really exciting to see how really anybody can pick it up and use it in some way and get benefits out of it. Yeah, this has been really fun, man. This has been really fun. Is there anything else that you want to add before we close out?
That's a good question. I don't think so. That was awesome. As I mentioned, anytime I listen to your podcast, which I kind of, this working from home actually kind of sucks too, because it was kind of a work listen. And now that I'm at home and the kids are around, I don't get all the episodes in. But when I see somebody that I recognize, I need to listen to him, like Zev. Yeah. When he had Zev on there, I went, I actually talk with Zev quite a bit. I need to listen to his episode actually.
That's cool. I'm glad that it's fun. And it's fun like that. Yeah.
But everyone I hear like that, I go, man, I have my answer ready when he says, how'd you find that jump rope? I'm ready for it.
You've listened to them. You know what's up. That's awesome, man. Well, I'm going to let you get back to your day, but thank you so much for taking the time. This has been really fun to dig into your history and to actually sit down and talk about it after all these years.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate it.
Hey, before you go, I just wanted to say one last thing. One of my main goals for this podcast is to share the stories of other jumpers and provide a full picture about everything that's possible with the jump rope. The more people that hear this, the better. And it would really help me out if you sent this podcast to somebody you know, whether in real life or digitally on Instagram, Facebook, whatever platform you use. It would mean the world to me. So that's it. I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, lunch, evening, whatever time it is for you right now. See you later.